Mom had been begging Dad for years. She wanted them both to go to Europe. Finally, my dad chose happy life.
Ahoy!
Once on board, he was all in.
Hallo, bonjour, ciao.
There wasn't any place he didn't want to go.
Gavat, como diz ooit, zedra, gio hoch.
Mom soon realized she needed to add her 2 cents. And fast.
Toyo hoho.
They would spend a week in Italy
Ciao bella?
and a week in France.
Oui, oui.
But there was one thing my dad insisted upon.
Que cosa?
No tours and no tour guides. 2 weeks, 2 countries, 2,000 miles. God bless you, Mom. This is Mom and Dad's European road trip.
The flight was long, about 13 hours including layover, but it's amazing how good a TV dinner tastes when you're about to put down in Paris. Did I mention we lived in Paris for 13 years? Paris, California. Moving on, Italy and France work great because they share a common border, perfect for a European road trip, and you don't have to drive on the left-hand side of the road. We touched down, picked up the rental car, and headed out. In the wrong direction. All of the road signs are in French. First stop, Paris. Then Marlaine wanted to see Monet's lilies. I wanted Dijon mustard. All of it, all of it, all of it. Took home 20 pounds. A principal goal of the road trip was to visit the shooting locations in the south of France for our all-time favorite movies, Jean de Florette and Manon des Sources. While in Marseilles, I had quite possibly the best salad of my life. Took a train across the Italian border to Milan, or as the locals pronounce it, Milano. Our new rental car took us to Florence. It was unanimous. Our best Italian food was in Firenze. Onward to Rome, or Rome, as the French pronounce it. I mean, my name is Jared. It's not Hara just because I'm in France, right? We would end our road trip in Rome, seeing the sights, sleeping in a 1,000-year-old castle, eating way too much gelato, and walking our butts off. But this is just the beginning of the story. Come along for the ride. You can sit on the luggage in the back. Dang, these cars are small. Good gas mileage. Originally, Marlaine found a great deal on a pair of tickets for a flight to Paris on 9/11. I thought it over and I said, "Hey honey, can we fly internationally over the Atlantic Ocean to Paris on the 10th of September instead?" So yeah, we changed our itinerary. We were in France. Somebody pinch me. Everything felt different, exciting, invigorating. But it did take some time to adjust to the logistics. Number 1, navigation. Whether in France or Italy, all the traffic signs were foreign to us. See what I did there? But we sort of got used to it after a day or 2. Number 2, parking. In Paris, there isn't any. It was difficult to get things done on the to-do list, so we agreed on day 2, we would leave the car behind at the hotel, about half an hour outside the city, take the train into city center, and then use the metro to get around. I wonder if graffiti culture has a class system. Like, if you paint something really cool on the wall, but the government pays you, are you a sellout? Can you ever show your face again back in the hood? Do you live in the hood? Are you still really a graffiti artist? Maybe you're just an artist now. Can you be woke if you get paid? Maybe it makes you even woker.
That's where we want to go.
There were only a few destinations that we had planned out and to which we absolutely had to go during our time in Europe. Place du Tertre in Montmartre was one of them. Hanging on our wall in our TV room, about 2 feet above our 12-year-old plasma television, is an oil painting. I picked it up at a thrift store about a year ago. It's a depiction of Place du Tertre in Montmartre, just a few streets away from one of the holiest sites in all of France, the Basilique du Sacré-Cœur. the domes of which can be seen in the background of our painting. It is one of the most frequently painted scenes in all of France. There are two things about our painting that makes it unique. One, it is a painting about painters. Notice the artistic frenzy of the 100 or so artists in the foreground. Kind of like a photographer stepping back for a second and taking a photo of dozens of his fellow paparazzi. And secondly, our scene was painted from a higher perspective. The artist was looking down on the square instead of the more common ground-level perspective. We determined it was painted from either of two buildings facing the Sacred Heart Basilica. One of the buildings had no access. Bummer. The other building was a restaurant, and though the second floor was closed for business, the manager was nice enough to let us upstairs and open the windows through which our painting would have been captured more than a half-century ago. This painting area, smack dab in the middle of the Place du Tertre, is called Cherished des Artistes. Painters who rent and create here agree to only sell original art created by them. Artists must make reservations a year or more in advance for an opportunity to rent a 3-foot by 3-foot space in which to create. They must also pass a credentialing process as a qualified artist before even being permitted to apply for a rental space. If you are an artist and find yourself painting in the Place du Tertre in the Cherished des Artistes, you have paid your dues. José Luis Leiva Chacon lives in Spain, but visits Paris each year to paint and sell his art in Montmartre. He paints in the Toledo style, the same as our painting. Toledo artists use a trowel. It's what creates the sharp, distinct lines and more substantial texture than typically created using brushes alone. Most of his paintings were pretty pricey, but there was this small one we liked. We made the purchase. Question. When an artist like Jose paints a religious subject like the Sacred Heart Basilica, what is the technique called? Holy Toledo, I got you! Jose Chacon was very gracious and took the time to share information about his career and style of painting. The list of galleries and expositions in which his paintings have been exhibited and sold is impressive, as well as the awards he's won and some of the dignitaries who own his work. Like us. We left the Place du Tertre and made our way just a few streets over to the Basilique du Sacré-Cœur, Sacred Heart Basilica. Though peak tourist season was technically over, the basilica's famous staircase was still packed. Makes sense though, because the top of the basilica stairs offers a breathtaking view of the Paris skyline. It was actually a lot less crowded inside the basilica. Leaving our car back at the hotel let us access some places that would have been difficult otherwise, but it did mean we would be burning some calories. Was that a couple of stairs or what? Marlaine's getting some corn. By the way, in Paris, a lot of the vendors on the street smoke, even when they're serving you food. Lots of people smoke in France. Pretty un-American if you ask me. Wait. Go back. Yeah, right there. Okay, now look at these guys. Those three guys in the immediate background. Those three. They're looking at the camera, right? I mean, I'm not imagining things, am I? And I think it's more than just, hey, look at the well-fed American with the hot Asian chick. Remember the Truman Show? Everybody was in on it but Truman? Look at these guys. Come on. And the guy in the brown suede coat? Yeah, the black dude sitting on the bench, trying to fake like he ain't checking me out too. Thought so. You know, if I was gonna make a movie, this would be my cast. Aren't they friggin' awesome? Amazing. Let's do lunch. This pizza we had in Paris on day 2 was France-tastic. We didn't know it at the time, but the best Italian food we would have in Europe would not be in Italy. Sorry, Jacob. This may be a bit presumptuous of a good-looking chubby bohunk from Pennsylvania, but if I can't get pepperonis on my pizza dough, it ain't pizza, yo. And you ain't exactly perfect either, Francais. This one's for Jordan. What's up with no ranch to dip the crust in? I don't know Paris, but it didn't exactly leave me feeling very gay. With our bellies full of a very satisfying lunch, including some fancy, expensive bottled water, we set out to explore, prepared to burn some calories. There was a lot to take in. Some things were odd and peculiar. Others, oddly familiar. It could have been LA, San Francisco, or New York. It's a big city. The more things don't change, the more they stay the same. We scheduled just 2 days in Paris. We were well into the second and still hadn't seen the Eiffel Tower. Time to hit the subway. We got to the Eiffel about an hour before sundown. The upper levels were closed unless you wanted to pay beaucoup euro. We didn't need to. As long as we could tell ourselves, hey, we were there. That was good enough. We ate dinner at a cute little bistro about 1 block from the Champs-Élysées. Pretty cool how I pronounced that, huh? We had ourselves a very French dinner. I had their potato. It's world famous. Night fell, and we found shelter in an Ibis budget hotel. If you ever have the opportunity to stay at an Ibis budget hotel, sleep in your car. Mama said if you don't have anything nice to say about somebody, don't say nothing at all. Marlaine and I made this video in part to share information with prospective European road trippers, including the costs. We kept all of our receipts, made all of our charges on a single credit card, and made just 2 cash withdrawals. Total cost for the first 2 days, $433.05. Works out to about $108 per person per day. Not bad to maintain the mastery of your own road trip destiny. Day 3. Marlaine woke up excited. We were going to Giverney. Giverney, about 45 minutes northeast of Paris, was home to Claude Monet and his colony of impressionist artists from the late 1800s through the early part of the 20th century. The ride through the countryside was pleasant, peaceful. A few miles shy of our destination, we spotted an elderly gentleman picking apples. That sounded really good to us. So I'm going to pick Marlaine an apple, and maybe even me one, if I can reach it. The apples were delicious, because they were, and probably also because of where we were. Marlaine filled her purse. Okay, I filled her purse. We would enjoy those apples for days to come. Marlaine loves plants. She loves flowers. She loves seeing things grow. She's a pretty good gardener in her own right. To be honest, plants are sacred to her. In Giverney, Marlaine was in heaven. We had lunch at the Hotel Bouddhi. We shared an appetizer that at first glance looks like a dessert, apéritif de feta di tomate. That wasn't supposed to sound Italian. Tomato and feta salad. Cheesy, salty, fresh, mega flavor. Marlaine had duck confit. I had the salmon. Killed it. For dessert, Marlaine had crème brûlée, and I had baked apple. French classics. It was pretty neat to share a meal with my honey in the same room Monet gathered with family, friends, and peers, and for the same purpose. This small, one-room artist studio sits just behind the Ancien Hotel Bouddhi. It was a solution to a serious problem in the early years of the hotel. During the golden age of Giverney, visiting artists would paint inside their hotel rooms. It regularly resulted in spilled paint everywhere, including the linens and the bedding. Madame Angelina Bouddhi, the original owner of the hotel, had had enough. She had this studio built so they could use it instead of their bedrooms. It's enchanting in Giverney to walk in Claude Monet's footsteps, here where he painted, tutored, and himself learned alongside other Impressionist artists who made the pilgrimage to this historic artists' colony. Time slipped by all too fast. and we soon had to leave to our next destination. Neither of us felt we had spent adequate time here. Marlaine and I intend to return soon, and next time we'll be spending more than just an afternoon. When you travel from one major city to the next in France, the freeways look and feel very much like those you'd find in America. The major difference? Almost all major freeways in France and Italy are toll roads. The further you go, the more you pay. For example, from Paris to Marseilles, it's about 482 miles. It'll cost you 57.8 euros. That's about $63 US. Definitely a budget factor for anyone planning a European road trip. Voila! So yeah, while on the freeway, you might as well be in Southern California. But when you exit, you ain't in Kansas anymore, Toto. Quaint, intriguing, ancient. All of it. All the time. We walked around town, took some pics, and found a pâtisserie, boulangerie. I don't know, it's one of those. We had some pastry. It was French. Marlaine had a croissant, and I had some kitty cat. We finished our sweets and skedaddled. The hunt was on. This is Dijon. We're in Dijon. We're searching for some mustard. I'm sure they have mustard here because it's called Dijon. We could have just bought some mustard at a local grocery store.
What?
And it would have been exactly what the locals eat. Authentique. But instead, we searched everywhere for some trendy, upscale tourist trap so we could pay 3 times more than we should for mustard made outside of France and imported back into Dijon. We eventually found such a place.
Yay!
Funny thing is, I don't even have photos or video of the store where I purchased my mustard.
Oh boy.
I was so excited to buy some, I wasn't thinking straight. It's okay, they exploited us anyways. We took home about 30 pounds of jams, mustards, and 2 large Parmesan cheese wedges. It's not even a month since we returned home, and my cheese supply is already dangerously low. Did I mention I love cheese as much as I do moutarde? I discovered Mademoiselle Saison in a cheap French jail. Having just robbed blind a local Dijon boulangerie, I busted her out in short order. And with her baguettes and my moutarde, we were ready to make some glorious road trip food histoire as we Bonnie and Clyde our way to the south of France. In a cuisine sort of way, of course. Petrol? Check. Road maps? Check. Anticipation for our next destination? Double check. Marlaine is a nurse. About 20 years ago, she was recording a medical show from TV. It wasn't as easy then as it is now. You kids are spoiled. The last time we used the VCR, we accidentally left the EP button on, which meant low resolution, but it would record for a full 6 hours. Well, as fate would have it, following her show were both parts of what would become our all-time favorite film, and amazingly, the tape fit all of it. Originally books by Marcel Pagnol, they were filmed and directed by Claude Berry. Full disclosure, it's a French tragedy of the highest order. Filmed back-to-back in 1986 France, there's subtitles. In my 20s, I shied away from subtitles. But 10 minutes into this film, it was like reading a good book. And the cool thing is, after the second or third time, we didn't need the titles anymore, and it was brand new and beautiful all over again. 2 decades later, it's still our favorite film. Oh, the steak? No connection to the films. I love ribeye. When I barbecue, I used to do it religiously and exclusively on charcoal, but after I found this awesome propane grill when I was out... Shing. Shing. Shall we go then? Our road trip itinerary was about to get pretty ambitious. Our goal was to get to all 4 shooting locations by Sunday evening. Saturday would be Saumur and Mirabeau. Sunday, Vaugins and Ribou. We actually pulled into Saumur late in the day on Friday the 13th. No bad luck to be had. It was still twilight enough to snoop around and get some pics and some video. Most of the shops were closed. It felt like Sunday, and that was fine. It was pleasing, calm, peaceful. We located the area used as the backdrop for the marketplace scenes in Jean de Florette. There's a restaurant there. Check this out. We asked a few questions about the location and how it was used for the films, and wouldn't you know it, but our hostess just so happened to be the daughter of one of the extras in the film. How cool is that? Her father was in the movie Jean de Florette. His name?
Patrick.
Patrick?
Mais c'est pas un grand acteur, hein, c'est un figurant.
Okay, did he have any speaking parts?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Une phrase.
What was his role?
Je sais pas comment parler en anglais, je parle pas anglais.
know. But Patrick in the movie?
Yes.
In the film? Patrick.
Yes.
Okay. Merci beaucoup. Merci beaucoup. We explained how we were huge fans of the films, and they seemed impressed that we came all the way from Los Angeles to their little town. I also shared my interest as a commercial director. Marlaine said that was why we were showered with an unusual amount of attention. Merci beaucoup. And Parmesan.
Thank you.
Once again understating the intoxicating influence of my Hungarian charm. After a completely satisfying meal, Marlaine, as usual, secured us some last-minute but excellent lodging. Darned if I could remember the name, but it was just a few miles from Saumur, to which we would be returning in the morning. Our hotel room was in one of those traditional, very large, 2-story, rectangular French stone barns that dot the countryside. Our host was proud to let us know the building was 400 years old and a labor of love restoring it to its current condition. It was comfortable, though pretty basic, tricked out in the latest IKEA has to offer. Not complaining, just saying. It worked great. It was Saturday, and Saumur was having its weekly swap meet. What? I'm a picker, man. There was tons of everything, and I mean everything, everywhere. And most of it was French. Problem is, it was noon, and they were just closing down. Talk about a bummer, man. It's okay, I used up all the free space in my luggage for mustard, jam, and olives. Unless it was a bona fide trésor fantastique, I wouldn't be taking anything home from France. We had lunch at L'Esplanade. My burger came on a stone. It's a stone, a slab. The French fries look marvelous. Let me try one. The burger is very Italian. It's French. And Mom's salmon looks marvelous. Oh my gosh, that looks delicious. What do you think, Mommy? Try it.
It tastes so good.
Oh. How's the rice? It's good.
Perfect.
It's French. After lunch, and happened upon a group of older men playing pétanque. Or pétanque, hope I got that right, is a form of bocce. It's been around for hundreds of years. In Jean de Florette, there's a scene where Jean and his family make their first appearance in town. In it, the locals are playing pétanque. The French take their pétanque pretty seriously. Apparently, they don't like to be documented during play, or at least not this fellow. The day was slipping through our fingers. It was time to head out to location number 2, Mirabeau. At Mirabeau. Mom, we're at Mirabeau.
Miracle.
Did you say it's a miracle?
Miracle.
Miracle. This village square in Mirabeau is the setting for much of the interaction between the main characters of Jean and his daughter, Manon, César and his nephew Hugolin, and the townfolk. It is here where Jean makes his first visit to the village with his family, affording the villagers their first glimpse of this city tax collector turned farmer. How dare he? The welcome is not warm. In the town center is the fountain upon which the survival of the community depends. No water, no town. To be completely honest, in Mirabeau, we weren't as prepared as we should have been to identify buildings, backgrounds, and camera angles from the film. In fact, some things were right in front of us, and we didn't realize it until we got home and started going through the photos and the video. Marlaine and I both agree. One day we will visit the south of France again. And when we do, Mirabeau will be on the itinerary. In the inimitable words of General MacArthur, we will return. Vaugines is home to the church and cemetery which serve as backdrop for the conclusion of Monet des Sources. We had no idea where the church was, and we hadn't had the chance yet to ask anyone, but while driving around this ancient, gorgeous little French hamlet, we came upon a clearing, and just off to our left, voila, there it was. The church. I thought I would try something, and darn if it didn't work. I overlaid a frame from Claude Berry's film on this freeze frame from my iPhone 6. The match was almost perfect. Very lucky that the weather was similar, and also that we both shot at the same time of day, so the shadows fell correctly. So cool. Marlaine and I sat on the same stone seat that César and Josephine did in that fateful scene towards the end of Monet des Sources. The very same stone seat. The church experience was inspiring, but Marlaine and I would soon get the bigger picture and come to appreciate more fully why Claude Berry chose this little town of Vaugines for one of his backdrops. I just picked this fig from this tree, and me and Mommy are gonna have some. Mommy, come here.
So sweet.
Do you eat the wrapper and everything? Wow. Fig. There's nobody around. We've been everywhere. There's nobody out on the street. We're thinking it's because even though it's either because it's Sunday or it's siesta or whatever you call it, but no matter where, there's nobody. Huh, honey? There's just nobody. So we're taking advantage of that because the streets are deserted. It's beautiful, actually. No matter where you go, no matter where you walk. Voila. I'm not going to cherry coat this, but we struck out in Rebou. We looked around, we gave it a shot, but we never did find the home that Jean inherited from his aunt Florette Camoin. A house in the style from the period. I do know that it's a currently occupied private residence, and we wouldn't be able to go on the property anyways. But from what I understand, there is a way to get a photo if you're willing to take a little bit of a hike. We were running out of light, we didn't pack hiking boots, it wasn't to be. We caught a killer sunset in the Var. And over the last 2 days, we used every bit of daylight in our quest to follow in the trail of Claude Berry and Marcel Pagnol. We did pretty good for a pair of Americanos fanatical about a legendary French film. Buongiorno.